Hey everybody, and welcome to part 2 of the Leafy Lake park playthrough. So in the first episode, we made a decent start to the park. We essentially filled in the majority of the perimeter of the land around the lake. There was not too much space to fill in, so we actually got that done surprisingly quickly, I thought. We put in a pretty healthy variety of rides. It included 2 coasters, one of which was a Steel Mini, which is just a nice little meandering sort of layout, I thought. Turned out pretty nicely. And also a medium to large size steel or looping coaster, which was based on a design done by the YouTuber Silverette. Made a few changes to the layout that he did originally, but I was pretty happy with how that one turned out. It was a nice bit of terrain conformance with that one, which I always enjoy doing. There's also quite a few gentle rides in the park, including a car ride and a mini railway, as well as a bunch of the classic ones like the carousel and Ferris wheel. There's also a couple thrill rides, including the Twister and Pirate Ship 2. We are going for generally more of a spread out park than I usually do, just because there is a fair bit of space to fill up in this scenario. Having said that though, depending on how time goes, I might come back and flesh some areas out just a little bit more. I might try and squeeze in a few more rides here and there, but yeah, we'll see how we go there. The general plan for the next area here is to basically just expand on the kind of forest theme that the mini railway and car ride kind of hint at there. Leafy Lake does actually have quite an interesting mix of trees to start with, like they kind of spread out in different batches around the place, one of which is a kind of foresty area near that car ride there. So I've really just tried to work around those kind of batches of trees as best I can, just to make sure everything kind of blends together nicely. So we started off with a nice big wooden coaster, which I feel like is a pretty common thing for me to do in Leafy Lake, especially around the area at the back here. It just seems like the perfect kind of space to put a nice big wooden coaster. I have found in general that this space is a little bit awkward to deal with, as it kind of just sits on its own, kind of at the rear end of the lake. But having said that, it can be a nice area to play around in, as it is pretty flat, and it's a nice big open space, and you can kind of do what you want. The Woody itself is CCI inspired, with the first drop in particular being pretty similar to that of the coaster called The Legend at Holiday World. I watched a point of view video of that on YouTube for the first time, and that looked like a really good coaster actually. That looks like a lot of fun. So yeah, as well as that, there's also quite a few nested sweeping turns in the layout as well. I actually went back and added in another one. What I did notice, however, is both of those nested turnarounds are turning left, which I probably should have done one turning left and one turning right, just so the rider's right-hand side wouldn't be in agony after the ride. The other change I made was extending the lift hill, as the first time around the average speed was just a little bit too slow. So yeah, just extended that 3 or 4 more tiles, basically so I could get in one more steep piece into that first drop. And the overall speed is a lot better. I think it's a lot more reminiscent of those CCR style coasters. I think the Woody turned out pretty nicely. It does a good job of eating up a lot of the area, which I was hoping it would. I did spend an absolute fortune on it, but no big deal really with the massive loan size available in Leafy Lake. I don't actually have a name yet for the Woody, so if you've got a suggestion for that, please let me know in the comments. I'm thinking either something kind of forest related, or just something that's kind of related to the lake. I didn't spend a huge amount of time theming the wooden coaster just yet. I will come back to it later, but I did first want to focus on just getting a few more rides down. I added a bit of a plaza area for this back lot as well, just with a fountain in the middle and just a few nice little shrubs around the place, a little pond. It's because I do feel like this area at the back is big enough to kind of warrant its own sort of, theme in a way. Added in the haunted house at the kind of top of the hill, just on one side of the plaza, which again I think is something that I do. I don't know, it's just when you play these scenarios as often as I do, it's I feel like some habits kind of creep in, and when you put a ride in one area, you kind of just end up doing that all the time, because that's where That's where you think things belong, if that makes sense. But yeah, just tried to make the Haunted Mansion sort of blend in with the area, just with a few of those kind of, those larger sort of trees, which I think go well with the haunted house. I then spent quite a bit of time on a river rapids. I had a lot of fun with this one actually. Usually river rapids aren't that fun for me to build, especially in RCT1 where you've got such limited pieces to use. But I found that using the like constantly changing direction with the 1x1 turns, I feel like I was at least able to make some areas of the layout look a little bit curvy at least. The majority of the layout is kind of embedded within the terrain, so just lowering the terrain 1 unit and then building the rapids in there. That's just, I feel like that's something you've got to do if you want to make the river rapids look nice. I did have to do quite a bit of terraforming, especially for the kind of lift hill, I guess. Even then, it does look a little bit clunky at the moment, and I might come back later and just kind of fine-tune that a little bit. Aside from that, I did spend quite a lot of time decorating and theming, making it somewhat of a, bit of a dense forest. Tried to make sure that we had a good variety of trees in there, shrubs as well, and also mixing up the terrain surface textures underneath. But yeah, overall very happy with how the River Rapids layout turned out, and I think it also has some pretty good stats to boot as well. I think the excitement rating was about 4.5 after all the trees and shrubs were added. So yeah, pretty pleased with that. I do have somewhat of a plan for the little pocket of space just near the top of the coaster lift hill and the lift hill of the river rapids. But yeah, we'll see if that ride gets unlocked, and if it does, I'll have a go at putting it in there. Now, although by now I had unlocked a couple other different coaster types, I did want to include another steel mini coaster. However, I did make it a little bit different to the first one in that, well, obviously it's a lot shorter than the first one, but also going to be using the spinning cars for this one. The original intention was to make it more of a family or a junior style ride. It did take me quite some time to get a layout that I was happy with. First off, I was just going to settle for a continuous circuit mode sort of layout with the spinning cars. I tried to put in as many left-right turn combinations as I could, and I think that the layout like that looked pretty good actually. One thing though was that the stats were actually a little bit too high for my liking. The excitement and intensity were up near 5 and 6, which I guess you might be thinking is a good thing, but as I kind of said earlier, I did want it to be more of a family style ride. What I ended up doing was converting it into a reverse incline shuttle coaster. Now, I don't know if this is something just in RCT1, but I feel like there's a little bit of a bug in that for reverse incline style coasters, I don't think the first drop as part of the reverse incline chain is actually considered to be, like it doesn't contribute towards the minimum drop height requirement, if that makes sense. So even if that drop itself is taller than the minimum drop height requirement, I'm not sure that it actually counts. I could be wrong on that, let me know if I am. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed how the reverse inclined steel mini coaster turned out actually. I like how the kind of reverse incline is kind of nested in with the little the spike going the other way. Then went back and did a little bit of decorating, mainly around the first drop of the coaster, just put in a little bit of a little pond there, mostly just for aesthetics. I think it might have actually improved the excitement rating quite a bit too, which is good, and just added a few more trees around that too. Then added in a bit of a food court, just kind of overlooking that first drop. Thought that would be a fun little viewing area for the guests. Anyway, I think that's just about all we've got time for. Thank you very much for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in the next one. Alright, thank you very much, and cheers, bye.